Welcome to the One More Rep podcast, where we take it beyond the barbell. I'm your host, Mo Dingo, and with me, as always, is Bromodo Dragon. So I almost forgot to put the bro name in for this week, so I actually had to stop and look one up. And as I was scanning through the list, it took me a minute to stop laughing before I could dish that one out.
Are you kidding me?
If anybody has like artistic skills, can you make a Bromodo Dragon? What is up, dude?
I don't fucking know.
I told you this list is sweet, man.
Yeah, it didn't start off too good, but it's getting better. I can't. I just gotta. I mean, that's a good one, man. Holy crap.
How you doing, man?
I mean, you know, I'm better now. Like, that was pretty good. Got me in tears. I knew it was bad because Mo's looking at that list, and he clicks his fingers, and he just starts laughing. He can't stop laughing before he even says the name. I'm like, oh my God, what's this going to be? It could go either direction. It's either going to be really funny or really disrespectful. I didn't know.
Never disrespectful.
They're
all really good. So these are.
I can't believe it.
As always, thank you for the likes, shares, subscriptions. When we talk about YouTube, one thing we need you to do there, not only do we need you to subscribe to our channel, but there's a little bell on there. And the only way you're going to get notified whenever we release new content is if you hit that bell. You'll get an email notification. It'll show up in your stream whenever you pop up on YouTube. And that way you can see Bro and I live on camera.
Well, as soon as I get the editing process nailed down. It's the process, but we're running out of storage issues because they're so long.
Yeah, and for me, like, my expertise is in audio, so Bro's the video guy. And
remember that.
He's teaching me a lot about this because there's a ton of things I didn't understand.
He doesn't understand how I can do everything from my phone.
Yeah, my fingers are too big.
I do have short fingers. No, it's so as soon as we get the videos, I think we have it figured out. Just getting the issue we had, we were running on multiple sources because we were running out of data. So we sent stuff to the cloud, but the cloud ate it, and it's no longer in the cloud.
Yeah, it's all
it's
going to be now.
It's going to be on TMZ next,
probably.
So hopefully there's nothing bad in the cloud.
Hopefully not. As always, we like to send a huge shout out to our sponsor, 75 Clothing, making badass gear for your badass ventures. The women's tanks are available. We have our tees.
Are back in stock.
Yeah, they're back in stock finally. Don't forget to use that promo code One More Rep.
Hear that, Beth?
You will get free shipping with that. So bought some more gear while Wally was here.
It's invaded our gym, Mo.
Yeah, totally. And then even on my feed, like with a lot of my friends and stuff like that have watched the show and purchased product, it's really cool to see everybody posting their pictures of random places. And then actually, I'll have a pretty good one from my wife, Mel. She was out camping while Wally was here. Unfortunately,
where was she?
She was in Wyoming.
There's our pigeon.
Well, no, so and I wasn't going to tell Bro about this, but what I wanted her to do was go, because we were just having a heck of a time trying to get Wyoming. So what I was going to have her do, she was at Yellowstone. So what I was going to have her do is when she landed, just have her download the episode. But she was so excited about being there, she forgot about it.
No.
She did take the pictures and everything. So when I saw the Wyoming download, I was like, oh, that's probably Mel. I'll just wait till she gets home and I'll ask her. And she totally forgot about it. So we did get an organic listen from Wyoming. So that makes 50 states that we have infiltrated.
How many more states do we have, Mo?
It depends. I think we got them all. I mean, because we did get Puerto Rico, right?
Thanks to Sebastian.
Yeah, thanks to Sebastian. I don't know. Maybe Guam. We can conquer that next. Anybody in Guam?
Sebastian, we need Guam too.
Yeah.
Call your people.
Yeah, because I know we have some military folks out there, and there's got to be at least one CrossFit affiliate.
So we got everything, man. So it's pretty cool. Finally, all 50 states.
Yes. It only took us, what?
Well,
8 months. Yeah, 8 months.
Well,
we had the binge release.
This is 30 episode. Oh no, this is gonna be episode 40.
Something.
41 maybe.
41 or 42.
So we're getting basically one state per episode.
There you go.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're up to how many countries?
40. We're up to 42 countries.
Dang. I still can't believe people listen to us, to be honest. I really don't get it.
Yeah. Just coming from a random text, and yeah, we thank you. Well, I mean, above all else, thank you for listening.
Yeah, it's just weird, It's like, I don't know. It's still kind of hard to believe that people actually take their time, download our stuff,
And commit up to an hour a day, or
share
at one point,
right?
Point, yeah.
And
Send us pictures.
yeah,
Blake was he's in Georgia right now, and he sent us pictures where he was going through, I think, the Berlin airport, wearing one of our shirts. Yep. That was super cool.
Yeah, it's just crazy, right?
Yeah.
Now we got shirts.
Yeah,
I mean,
and we got a sponsor. Yeah, it's
awesome. It's
yeah.
really, Mo had the vision, man, and I tried to hold him back.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of goes in today's episode.
Yeah, it does. But before we cover all that, so again, we added Wyoming, and going back to Wally and 75 Clothing, they have socks now. I picked up some of those. Oh, you're rocking them? There you go. Check them out. 75 socks, and they're red, so you can wear those on Friday.
Yeah, I didn't show you my leg because it's really pale. It's not seen sunlight since, I don't know, 1908.
So, again, thanks a lot. It was great to meet Wally. You guys got to listen to a couple of his episodes, peek inside his brain. And actually, I just got a message, and I might be helping him start a show here shortly. So that's really cool for me to be able to help him the way he, in a way that he's helped us. So.
And this will be your second person you've helped, huh? Janetti?
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
you're like the podcast whisperer.
And then actually, someone else reached out to me about helping him with another book. So that's been pretty cool.
Right, because you helped Janetti set up for
his. And then another person reached out to me that had a book. They just needed to be refined. So I'm in the process of helping them upload it. So, yeah, this is like just rabbit holes. That's what we're about here.
Yeah, we talked about the episode that Mo wanted to talk about that I didn't want to talk about. It turned out really good. And
but I think that's part of why we work well together, is because we have our hearts are in the same place, but we're just different people. And you think of things differently, and conversely, I do too. And I think that's why people like the show, because they say they feel like they're sitting here just listening to us talk after a workout.
Because we are.
Because, well,
I mean,
less the workout.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think it's if you didn't send the text, then the Janetti thing wouldn't happen. You're doing the unicorn. You helped it. You were at Validus, I don't know, and then you did the Arnold, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I tried not to think about it too much because I didn't want to freak out.
Yeah, and now you helped him set up for his audiobook, and you're helping possibly Wally get into the podcast world.
Yeah.
Is he coming for us, bro? Or do we have to start designing clothes? Is that what's up?
We start getting on his turf.
Dude, can you imagine the stuff that we are like what we would draw? Like stick figures with
stick figures with big biceps.
Yeah, like one big bicep, really small legs, and they're with stick guns. Yeah.
Pew,
pew pew pew.
It would be so elementary, but I don't know.
It might sell, bro.
Yeah, I know. We need to talk to Wally.
Yeah. Watch out, Wally.
All right. So now that we covered all the initial business, so today's episode, Bro and I were chatting over breakfast at Warehouse 4.
Still yet to be sponsored.
Enjoyed a delicious cup of coffee.
Maybe we should stop plugging them, because we're plugging Wally, and he is our sponsor. Warehouse 4 has done nothing. And they get tagged on every single thing.
They're on the clock. I think we need to put them on notice.
All right. They're on notice officially.
Right. So as we were having breakfast, and this is where a lot of our content tends to come from, we just sit and talk. And again, this is how this whole show started. Me and Bro just talking about real life stuff.
Or I was up until 3 a.m. watching something.
Yeah, and tag me on Instagram. But the thing you said today right off the rip is let's talk about what?
Stop giving up on yourself.
Okay. So then we started talking and chit-chatting, trying to further dissect this and go down the path of, what we're going to create today.
Because Mo's like, well, where are you going to go with this? And I was like, I don't know. I said...
Which normally that's not the case, though, because bro will come up with me like, hey, I was thinking about this, and then we could talk about that, and blah, blah. So then when I was like, okay, so where are we going? He was like, I don't know. I was like, oh, well, shit.
Well, we were on the phone last night after he got done at his soccer game and just kind of trying to set the schedule for today.
Yeah.
And he wants to do a, what you call it? For the listeners.
Oh, yeah, like what do we call it? Like a mailbag episode.
Yeah,
we've done that before.
Yeah, we've done a mailbag
Yeah.
mailbag before. We have some other ones that we can't make a whole episode out of them, so we'll make
we collect them
and make shorter conversations. Yeah. And I was like, well, let's we just released Wally's.
Yeah,
I'd rather just do a traditional episode. And he's like, well, what's it about? I was like, I don't know. I just don't want to. Let's do a traditional one. He's like, and like Mo just said, he could have been like, well, fuck you. It's my podcast. I am the
producer.
Producer. I don't even know what the hell I am. I don't even get on the shirt.
You're the technical advisor.
Yeah,
man,
whatever. I don't even get on the 7.5 thing. You're going to put my pasty ass legs for socks.
Well, in all fairness, I didn't know you were going to put that picture you took of me on the 7.5 site.
I didn't know it was going. I didn't put it on there
because
I hacked into 7.5's website and put you in there.
Because when I was driving home after we got done recording, I'm like, what the hell?
You're on there.
I'm on 7.5 clothing.
He asked for a picture. I didn't know. Here's a pic. He said, "Yeah, I have a picture." Mo smile took the picture.
Like, yeah.
But yeah, I didn't have a direction, and I literally was getting ready to go to bed, and I'm on YouTube randomly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even looking towards something like this. A video pops up, and it just triggered something in my head. It was like a 2-hour long podcast.
Was it the one you sent me this morning? Okay. What show was that?
It was off of Marcus Luttrell, Team Never Quit, and it was their 100th episode. Mm-hmm. They just started doing the vlogs.
The video, yeah.
And
well, and if you don't know who Marcus Luttrell is, if you've heard of the movie
Lone
Survivor, also a book written by Marcus Luttrell. Mm-hmm. He's a former Navy SEAL corpsman from Houston, well, just outside of Houston, and he's now got a show, right? The podcast.
Yeah, and so I tagged Mo into this morning. I wanted to send it last night, but it was 3 a.m. And so there's even a cutoff for where I won't send stuff to him on text. But it was pretty funny because he was approached by another Navy SEAL we'll call him Mo. And this other Navy SEAL, he's mm-hmm. definitely way outspoken, not a bad way. He's just very boisterous, energetic. Like he loves meeting new people. Not that I don't, but it's just like Mo got his way, whatever. And then Mark Luttrell, me, whatever. No, Marcus Luttrell, they're doing their 100th episode. He's like, I still can't believe this actually worked. Mm-hmm. And it starts at minute 7. I told Mo to start listening. And right about that time, he's just like, I still can't believe this is actually happening. Mm-hmm. And that's how I feel. I don't believe that this is actually happening. Mm-hmm. So,
and every time we have the show and I'm producing it, I'm like, man, no one's going to listen to this.
Well, and then, okay, so like we talked about in the past, like we'll get done recording. I'll be like, first thing I ask is like, hey, Mo, what'd you think of that one? And he's like, I thought it was good. And I'm like, man, I think it sucks. Marcus Luttrell says after every episode, he says the same thing. Yeah, says the same thing. So I guess it's just you're out of your norm. Mm-hmm. Luttrell's a badass. And if you don't know his story, look it up. I'll never forget certain things that kind of trigger me. I was driving home. And I was in Kentucky, driving back to Ohio. I forget why. And I was by myself, and I had done the audiobook.
Mm-hmm. Of Lone
Survivor.
Okay.
Just because I had a long drive. Yeah. I forget where I was going.
That's funny because that's how I
was
it too.
Actually, yeah. I was in it was paintball practice. That's what it was from Louisville. Mm-hmm. And coming home, so there and back, and I'm literally driving it where the book is like at the very end, like I just like start crying. Like it's very emotional.
Yeah.
The very end of this is when you hear about the sacrifices people make that are in a foreign country that we never
Hear about.
and then we hear about one of them, but then you realize that that's just one. As big as that operation has been made out, there is bigger operations and people who actually have died that we don't know about. And, 9/11, was yesterday, and it's just stuff like that just gets to me. Like these people are dying, and for me, and I'm sitting here driving home with the ability to do so, just really hit me hard, and it's just a great story. So if you don't know it, look it up. It's awesome. It'd be the best of whatever. So listen to that podcast, and started triggering a lot of things. Just like that's why I read articles and just kind of opens my mind up, and I thought it was pretty cool. Like we give up on ourselves way too often, and I'm not shitting you. That's kind of the stuff they were talking about. And we're talking top tier people.
And where this whole thing with the Team Never Quit podcast is coming from is, what me and Bro were talking about at breakfast. So, what the whole premise of today's show is just stop quitting on yourself.
Do it every day. People do it every single day. They don't even know it.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. So when we talk about quitting, I mean, just not taking advantage of opportunities,
making excuses, putting it off,
not trying as hard as you possibly could have, maybe conserving energy in order to preserve it for something else. I mean, there's multiple ways you can quote quit
without physically or mentally quitting. It's just we take things for granted, right? So I was telling Mo, like, don't put something off today thinking that you can do it tomorrow because you may not have that chance. You really may not have that chance to, I'm not feeling it today. I'll hit it tomorrow. And then something comes up, and then now you can't do it. Now you're 2 days behind. And then
so the example you gave was cutting your grass, which a task in itself sounds pretty benign.
So yeah.
So you said cutting the grass, and then you're getting ready to do it, and then you're like, I don't feel like doing it. I think I'm just going to sit on the couch and watch some more TV or play some more Xbox, and I'll do it tomorrow.
Right.
Then tomorrow comes, and
something comes up. Yeah, something happens in your life. You're like, dang, I got home late, just didn't have time. And then day 3 comes and it rains for 3 days. So now you're 6 days behind. Okay, then you go to mow at the 6th day. Well, you can't because you're out of town. So now it's a week. So now it's been a week of something that's not done that could have been done, but you chose not to do it on that day that you could have done it. And it's things like that. We procrastinate, and that's so minor, but we do it all along. We give up on ourselves so frequently before we even attempt anything because we let that self-doubt creep inside of our head, sort of like I just made reference to this podcast. I'm like, he asked me a question about doing it, and the first thing I'm saying is like, who would want to listen to us? And now we're, world domination. 2018, every freaking country, in the world.
We conquered America already.
America's gone. Yeah, we've got that on wraps, Mo. Now we're taking over the country. It's like, holy crap. So, so we have 90 states, between 90 states and countries that listen to something that we talk about. I'm sitting here in a loft.
Yeah, in Vandalia, Ohio.
Yeah, and people from across the world, from Scotland and Ireland and
Korea, Australia. We got strong listenership. Well, I mean, not strong, but we have steady listenership in Australia.
So it's just nuts to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking around and it's like, it's just nuts, right? So
when we talk about quitting, obviously with this being the One More Rep podcast, let's talk about how quitting in the gym happens.
Yeah, I mean, shit. You can let's look at your week and tell me how many times you quit on yourself in a workout when it got hard. How many times did you push through? And if you're real about it, like, man, you know what? Actually, I did kind of give up because I set the bar down with 3 reps left.
Or did you take an extra breather, when you were resting in between cycles?
On the last round of the workout,
Yeah.
like when you have a task, and as soon as you finish this last task, you're done.
Did you really need to go chalk your hands up?
Yeah.
Did you really need to
Take a sip of water.
Yeah,
Like it's
did you really need to adjust your collars? You know,
right. And once again, this is still minor, but stuff like this compounds. And I just gave him an example. I was talking to a guy. He was doing some.
Olympic lifting. Is
Yeah,
that
he was
one?
doing snatch, panda pulls. It was heavy, and I know him really well.
And they require a lot of coordination, though.
They do, and he was at 300 pounds on his panda pull, and I seen it and on Instagram, and so I watched it and I sent a message because it wasn't proper, and I messaged him because I do know him. I'm not just
Being a random ass. Yeah.
yeah, and I didn't post it direct. Like, man, that was really bad.
whack, yeah.
So I sent a message like, hey, have you ever done panda pulls? He's like, yeah. Why? What's up? Because he knew. So I said, hey, it was definitely improper. You're loaded way too heavy. I know it's supposed to be heavy, but it doesn't matter how heavy you go if it's improper. And he's like, well, I said, that's how you develop bad habits. And he said,
And then, I threw in that part. I have an educational background with the military, and we call it the law of primacy. The way you learn it is the way you continue to do it.
Yes.
And it's hard to break those habits. And like from an instructor, like if I taught a student something wrong from the beginning and realized it, 4 or 5 steps down the road, having to re-step back and untrain that person or an entire class was extremely difficult, because now you have to reprogram their brain, because now you're teaching them the second way how to do the same first step.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Same thing with anything with the lifting, especially with lifting, because it's so technical.
right, and that's the exact same thing I told him, just not in that long of a form. I just said, that's how you develop bad habits. He's like, well, I've not been lifting enough to form bad habits. And I'm saying, a bad habit starts with that first incorrect movement, and then it happens again, and then again and again. You've reinforced improper movement or improper teaching. And because you keep doing the same thing over and over because you're not being told not to, right? So a habit, people think that a habit is something that you do every day, which it is, but that habit started with doing it one time.
And because it wasn't corrected, in theory, it's been reinforced.
Yes.
Yep.
So habits happen. A habit is something that we do, obviously, just without thinking. But you have to do that so many times before it becomes a habit,
A pattern, and now it's part of your normal.
It's part of your norm, and that was my point. Is like, look, you can do it wrong, and that's fine. But a habit starts with the first wrong movement.
And I'll give you an example of like training yourself bad habits. So just in driving, one thing that kind of irritates me, it's like one of my anal things, is like when people make a left turn and they drift into the right lane as they're making that left turn.
Oh, like wide.
Yeah. When you take your driver's ed course and you take your driver's test, if you do that, you're automatically going to fail. But what, everybody out there listening right now, you do it. Hell, I do it, especially when I'm driving my truck, because it's just, it's a wide ass truck. Sometimes I might hit that island, so I just kind of give myself a little bit extra room. I know it's wrong. It's not how I was taught.
Right.
But because I've made that acceptable in my life, now that's part of my normal.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm driving with my kids, I absolutely make sure I don't do that, because I don't want to reinforce that. But why don't I just do it every time? Because that's the law.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think if we go back to lifting, if your end goal is to have your snatch, get better, which is what he's working on. When you're doing panda pulls, it definitely strengthens your upper back, because you do have your weight. It teaches you how to pull yourself underneath the barbell and keep the bar close. But if you can do everything right from the waist up, but if your footwork is off and you're going wide and the knees are coming in on the catch, you can't catch a snatch like that. So if you're trying to get better at your snatch, you're actually making it worse, because at your lighter weights, you're going to do the same damn thing, because now your brain's ingrained into this. So now you've taken 2 steps back. You got to unlearn what you just learned on the panda pull. Then you have to relearn it proper. And now your footwork's messed up, and it's going to mess up your lighter loads. And you're like, why am I struggling? Well, because you've been practicing wrong. That's just the reality of it. So you can't reinforce I've always said bad training is bad training. It's just the way it is. Doesn't matter how much you practice something. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If you practice it right, then it's different. That's why we get people when they first start CrossFit. They're like, is there anything like where do you get the PVC pipes at so I can practice myself at home, or maybe I'll grab a broom and practice my cleans? I was like, don't even,
because although you appreciate their energy,
they're
by
going to do it
doing
wrong.
it unsupervised,
Yeah, they're going to do it wrong.
They may develop. There's a higher propensity for them to develop improper technique.
Right. So in our gym, you do double under attempts from day one unless you can physically not do a single under. If you can't do one single under, then we got to work on that skill of the coordination.
Okay.
But if you have single unders, you don't get a pass. You're doing double under attempts until you get them.
Mm-hmm.
And we do them at least once a week, maybe twice a week in the gym, and they will get them. That's just the reality.
Mm-hmm.
They will, every time they're up, they're doing double unders.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you can do that double, single, single, double, single, single, double, single, single, double.
Mm-hmm.
They start that crap, and I'm like, stop. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Not happening. I said, because you're teaching yourself improper way to do this. You're going to have to unlearn that and still learn how to do this proper. We're not even
stringing them together.
Yeah, we're not even starting that crap. Or when they donkey kick their feet backwards, like, no, we're staying on the balls of our feet.
Mm-hmm.
We're not donkey kicking. It's not happening. It's just not, because I'm going to invest my time in you to get you right. But I'm not going to reinvest after you're doing it wrong, and I got to correct your wrong because it's wrong. Then I have to teach you how to do it right when we could just do it right now. Like, come on, man. Like, it's that simple.
I was fortunate. My the first real coach I had, James Windy, at a Blue Star CrossFit in San Antonio. That was his thing. I was like, hey, what's the scale for doubles? He's like, doubles.
Right.
Okay.
And people come in, they're like, well, I'm going to do single. I was like, well, you're not.
Yeah.
And I'm not being rude. I was like, don't you have double unders? No. I was like, how long you been doing CrossFit? 3 years. I was like, what's your problem? Well, I can't blame them, because guess what? When you give people the ability to come in and do single unders, and double unders frustrate people to hell and back,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to go right to the easy task that they can do and just double or triple the reps, whatever the gym allows them to do. So they never practice the skill. They come in here and I'm like, hey, you're doing them. And we just had it from someone that just came from another gym. You're doing them. It's just you're doing them. You're going to learn them.
Yeah.
I don't care how mad you get. We'll cut your numbers back and attempts back. But if you want to stop getting those red whip marks on your legs and arms, guess what you have to do?
Doubles.
You have to learn how to do them.
So these things apply outside the gym as well. Like we gave the analogy of cutting your grass. But one of the first things you pointed out was nutrition.
Yeah.
And I will openly admit that one of the hardest things I've ever tried to do is stick to a good diet. It's not easy. It's hard.
And I think that's the problem. People say it's not a diet. Right.
Yeah, diet to me is like those
Atkins.
Those fad things, like
Right.
You drink this and don't eat that. You drink one of these shakes a day and then you're going to lose 20 pounds or whatever.
And I think that's where people attack. If they talk about nutrition and CrossFit, I'm working with 15 individuals right now doing individual plans with them.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing that they assume is that they have to eat a specific way. No. You get to eat every single day items, everything you can buy at the grocery, right? It's a matter of obtaining numbers that fit you and what you need and what you have to have for performance, if you're performance-based or aesthetics, whatever. We have to get that amount proper. So it's not the food's not a diet. It's everyday food. It's meat, carbs, and fat. It's like protein, carbs, fat. We got to get the right amounts, though, and get that into you and get you onto a rhythm of timing, when to eat, how to load properly. If you're working out in the afternoon, we're going to make sure we get most of our carbohydrates in before we're eating, 60 to 90 minutes before we work out. We're getting our 25 grams of carbs so you can be loaded when you come in here because you're coming straight from work, getting that figured out. So it's not a diet, and that's what people think. Like, I can't do diets. I'm like, we're not doing diets, so I'm glad you can't do them.
We're doing nutrition.
Right.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
And
But
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're right. Go ahead.
And some other things that we talked about off the mic when it comes to outside the gym is, for me, the one thing that I always think about in terms of, quote, quitting is when people don't try and get that new position at work, because they're scared of being turned down for it.
Or change.
Or they're scared of change. And I can speak from personal experience because, me just retiring from the military, I can't even count how many resumes I sent out. And it was very frustrating at first because I was either not getting any contact back, which is super frustrating, or I was getting contact back just saying that, I wasn't, they found somebody else. Because what I started to discover is a lot of times when these companies advertise jobs, they already have someone in mind because it's an internal hire or a friend of a friend or something like that, and they merely post the job because there's a legal requirement.
Right.
So it would have been real easy for me to just be like, okay, well, maybe I can just adjust my lifestyle and I can live off my retirement check and just be pissed off that I didn't get a job. But I have goals, and I wasn't just going to quit looking for a job. But it would have been real easy for me to, because could I live off my retirement? Absolutely. Just have to make some adjustments to my lifestyle. But that's not the direction I wanted to go.
Yeah, and he could easily give up on himself, and if he has a direction he wants to go and he knows when he needs X to get to that, it's hard you can't give up on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
a lot of people do.
Yeah, you're right. They're given a choice, and they make that choice to either go for it or not go for it. It's
mm-hmm.
just, I was telling him it was a good instance was yesterday when I was lifting. I was very low on time. I was busy as soon as I walked in the door. I wanted to get my lift in because it was max out day, and I was trying to make every excuse not to go lift. Like, I'm not going to have time to warm up. I've only hit 2 weeks of the 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be successful.
Well, and this was in between classes, right?
No, this was right before. I did
right before class?
I had to train 3:30, 4:30, 5:30 yesterday. So there was literally, I'm not going to do it after because I'm really tired.
Spent, yeah.
And so it was right before. I hadn't eaten lunch.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't eat food until I left the gym that night.
Yeah.
But because I'd eaten, because I was going to come in, edit, program, work out,
yeah.
and then teach class, and eat and teach class, which time gets away because it does. And so I'm sitting here and I have 35 minutes, and I'm still upstairs in the loft editing. So
mm-hmm.
I finally get mad, and I just said I'm going to go for it. And I went for it and actually ended up PRing my squat. And it's just kind of,
But you didn't train the whole cycle, right? You
right,
said you had the comp last week, so life was hectic, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've only done one workout in the last, now 2 because I worked out yesterday. But
mm-hmm.
I've only done 2 workouts, or 2 days ago, sorry. I've only worked out 2 days in the last, almost 20
mm-hmm.
because of my shoulder, just trying to let it chill, beginning treatment. But
you still PR'd?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
I don't know. Maybe my cycles really don't matter.
Well,
I'm just saying. Like,
but how did it? So conventional wisdom would tell me that, well, if I've only worked out twice during the cycle, I'm probably not going to PR.
Well, not work out twice. The cycle is 7 weeks. It's 8 after, or if you include max out. But in general, I haven't worked out in almost 20 days, but 2 of the 20 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then squat wise, I did a deload last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did one other strength portion this entire cycle just because of, I'll never put myself ahead of things that need done in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way it is. Like, other times I could really make it happen, probably. And do I not do it? Yeah. But it's sort of like, I'm not being a bitch about it, but I'm not being stupid and putting things off that I know have to be done.
You're prioritizing things.
100%. Yeah. And the gym is always before me.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, yeah. So, yeah, I PR'd, and it's kind of like, so Mo is the first goal I put on our blackboard
mm-hmm.
of our goal board that I've actually ever got to cross off. I mean, I'm getting so close to a 400-pound back squat, and it's just crazy to me.
So how were you able to push through that, though, with your training limitations that you've just explained?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think it was a slip knot. I told Mo I went down and I cranked up slip knot, put it on shuffle, had it loud as hell in here,
mm-hmm.
and I literally did, my warm-up was very modest,
mm-hmm.
and I require a bigger warm-up.
Old man mobility, right?
It's just, not, especially when you don't work out, you know what I mean? So I really don't know what happened. I told him, I was thinking of 9/11 yesterday. I kept getting pissed off at how unappreciative people are for the sacrifices, how much people forget when we were attacked, and they forget about people attacking us. It's so funny over time how you just you get so
comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable with what happened to our country. And so I'm literally in between every sets, I'm about to rip this barbell in half, just thinking about stuff on Facebook and social media and what people are saying and how just, I don't care if you line with me politically or if you don't like military, that's on you. But like here in our gym, they know we're pro-military. Mm-hmm. They know we're pro-law enforcement. And we love our flag. We love our country. And when I hear it just fueled me. I really don't know because my technique wasn't bad in my max out at all. Like I could tell that my glutes hadn't developed through the cycle like I needed to move this weight because I had my knees came in slightly because my glutes were just weak. And obviously I didn't even warm up. Mm-hmm. What can I expect? But position-wise, I was pretty good. I mean, surprised the hell out of me.
But instead of quitting, you convinced yourself.
I'm going to go for it. Like I said, worst case scenario.
You fail?
Worst case. I said worst case scenario is I get some work in at some percentages. Okay. I was sitting up here and I was trying to talk myself out of doing it. I was going to quit before I even started, and that's the problem with this. That's why I wanted to do this. We often so often we quit something before we even start it. Mm-hmm. We quit on ourselves. We sell ourselves short so much, Mo. It's just we look at a barbell and it goes up 10 pounds and we think it's 500, or we look at a project and we think, my God, it's going to take 2 months to do it. It's so daunting, so we don't start it. Mm-hmm. Or we start something and it gets tough and it's like, man, I've spent here 5 hours on a 2-hour project. I'm never going to finish. Mm-hmm. Like it's every single day across this world, people, Americans, give up on themselves, and it's just ridiculous to me because what can we accomplish if we don't? And I told Mo, what if, right? Yeah. I want a 400-pound back squat. And it's not for anybody else, but it's for me. It's just a number. Mm-hmm. And so I PR and only do 2 weeks of the 7-week cycle. Mm-hmm. I was like,
what if you would have done the entire cycle?
Right? I had a 10-pound PR up to 375. And what if, right? So now it's like, Jenna's like, is that a PR? And I'm like, yeah, because I don't jump up and down. I'm like, I don't celebrate. Like I never have. I never will. It's just, it is what it is. It's part of the process. And then she's like, well, shouldn't you be happy? I was like, I am happy. It just, I don't do backflips when I PR. Mm-hmm. But it's just funny. Like now I'm like, if I'd have put the work in and maybe on certain days, maybe not make an excuse. And I'm tired and then I just like, maybe I want some me time doesn't involve the gym since I'm always here. What if, right? What if you guys do that? What happens if you stop making excuses and when something comes up, you just get it done and you move on? Mm-hmm. Because like I said, you can't assume that what you need to do today is going to be available to do tomorrow. And then when that compounds, you just what are you going to do? Now you can't do it, right? It's, we had a girl yesterday. She already hit a 5-pound back squat PR. Loads it up for the second attempt at her 10-pounder, or a second PR attempt for been 10 pounds. We know how important 10 pounds is now. Now that our math is right. Yeah. And before she even goes up to the barbell, you can tell that she's just not. She knows she's not going to get it. Mm-hmm.
Her head's not in it.
Her head's not in it, but her body is. Her body's ready. Her body's ready to move this and can move this. Comes out of the hole, no problem, and goes right back down. Mm-hmm. So you're not getting stuck in the bottom. It's not a leg strength. It's a brain strength. PRing anything is not easy. If it's a true max, you have to fight for that. So you're coming out of the hole, you better fight and drive to stand the hell up. Mm-hmm. Because if you just go down and come back up, there's no leg drive. Mm-hmm. You have to drive. You have to accept that it's going to suck. You have to accept that it's going to challenge you. And you have to accept that if you stop, you're going to fail. And if you fail, you just train 7 weeks for this day. Mm-hmm. Now what? It's just, you cannot give up on yourself, Mo. You can, but then you can't be pissed at the result.
That's a fair statement.
Right?
So what are some things that we can do collectively to try and overcome sometimes our ability to quit on ourselves?
It's tough. How can you train not to give up?
One thing for me is like when I hear other people's success stories. they talk about, whether it be inside the gym or outside the gym, but just hear how people overcame adversity and me using those as like motivational factors to try just that much harder. Just thinking of some of the things I've seen in my lifetime in the gym and even in the military where people probably could have quit or given up and they didn't, and they succeeded, and just kind of like, sometimes I know you and I both say collectively, stop being a bitch,
Yeah.
And just push through it. Worst thing that happens is I fail and I get some gains anyway.
Or you just feel better about yourself because you actually
tried.
You did some fitness.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is. We've talked about it doesn't always have to be the craziest, hardest workout. Challenge yourself. Don't use a clock. Don't measure yourself against anybody else. Just get some work done and see what it does for you with your psychology and how much better it makes your day. Mm-hmm. Right? Just do something. But to train not to quit, it's just a mentality. Like, are we giving up or are we just not, or we're not believing in ourselves? Mm-hmm. It's different because I see people in workouts. Do they give up? No, they finish the workout. Giving up is when they would stop
and start putting up their weights and taking off their shoes
without having like a tight back or some sort of injury that's keeping them from going, and where the coach is like, hey, let's just chill. You're not giving up. That's the first thing I say. You're not giving up. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you that it's not worth it. Mm-hmm. You're moving improper. I don't want to extend this and make it worse. Okay, we'll put your stuff up after they're done. Let's go get a ball and let's hammer that bad boy out. Quitting, like you said, that's legitimate quitting. Is that what you want to do? That's your choice. I gave him a good instance. So we're speaking of Marcus Luttrell. Robert O'Neill, it's a guy who ended up shooting bin Laden. Another great story. Very humble guy. He was on the most elite Navy SEAL team, SEAL Team 6, part of DevGru. So when Marcus Luttrell was lost, and they knew their helicopter that they'd sent to extract and reinforce them was shot down, DevGru and the group that was there and some Marines and some Army, they went out to get him. Well, they couldn't take a helicopter in because one had just gotten shot down. Mm-hmm. So they had to take a vehicle to the longest point they could. But he said that when he got there, when they were walking up this, he was not in combat, meaning not shooting or getting shot at. And the task of climbing what Marcus Luttrell and his team was fighting in was impeccable. He said, literally, we get to the top, and one of his teammates, another SEAL Team 6, you can't question. This guy doesn't quit. Mm-hmm. They don't quit. They will die before they quit. He sits down, right? So he sits down, and Robert O'Neill says, what are you doing? He's like, I literally cannot take another step. And Robert O'Neill says, that's fine. Don't take another step. Just sit there. But when we have to look at Mrs. Luttrell, Marcus's mom, in the eyes and tell her that we came this far, and when we were this close, we gave up looking for her son.
Because we got tired.
He said, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. He stands back up, and before they walk off, Robert says, in 3 more steps, I need you to tell me the same thing because I can't take another step. And they said literally for the rest of the time that they were getting IVs and walking with IVs. They're so destroyed. Mm-hmm. And the entire time, that's what they kept telling each other. And it was one foot in front of the other until they found him. And Marcus said when his people came to and found him,
the guys that were sent to rescue him
were in worse condition than what he was. And he'd been shot like 3 times. He had a broken fib, broken femur, bit his tongue in half, lost his entire team, had been tortured by the Taliban for 3 straight days, beat to the pulp. And these guys were in worse shape, and they were fresh coming to find him. But that's what they did. He said they were trying to give him medical treatment. He was a corpsman. Mm-hmm. He was trying to give them medical treatment because they're literally about to die themselves. Yeah. But that's what they did. Mm-hmm. They didn't give up because they made that choice not to. But if they did, guess what? They wouldn't have found them.
Absolutely. Just when it comes to quitting on yourself, you have a choice, in just a matter of pushing through. In the worst case scenario, if you try and you fail, like Brody just said a little bit ago, at least you made some progress. At least you made some gains. At least you made some fitness. At least you did something. And again, outside the gym, at least you attempted to get that promotion. At least you attempted to get on a nutrition plan. At least you attempted to set, be a precedence or a role model for someone who you have no idea is watching you. You've made a difference in someone's life by choosing to succeed and fail versus not even try at all.
Inspiration comes from those who leave it all out there under all costs. And a lot of people who inspire others have no idea that they inspire anybody. Mm-hmm. We do, I think it was last Christmas, the Christmas before, we had our members leave anonymous handwritten notes and hang them up for everyone to see, and write something about someone in our gym that inspires them. And you could not believe what these people thought, like
of each other,
because they're like, "Holy crap! You're not an elite athlete, right? It's someone who comes in every day, busts their ass. It's not always your top tier athletes who inspire. It's the person who comes in and does the work and just wants to be the best version of themselves, but they don't realize that they've inspired 3 or 4 people, because 3 or 4 people took their time to handwrite a note, come in and hang it up, and tell this person how much they inspire them. And you just really never know, okay? And you also never know, like, what if you don't do this? What happens 5 days from now? What happens a month from now? For you not doing something today that can be done today, what kind of chain reaction does that have in your life? How much you procrastinate and you put things off, or if you just you tell yourself you're not good enough, you give up on yourself before you even attempt anything. You don't know, you live in that moment. You're living in that moment. You have no idea
the secondary impacts of what you do right now has on
do
your
or
future
don't do,
or someone else's future.
Right. I mean, it's so compounding, and you could really, if you really want to get lost in this, I'm not into a whole mental crap like namaste, yoga, whatever, get lost in your own brain. But if you think about this for, 10 minutes or so, and you think about all the stuff that you have not done, that you can do and you should have done, and look how much it's impacted your life because you didn't do it, it's going to blow your mind.
And although Bro just made the claim that he doesn't worry about mental stuff, if you want to listen to more of the things that we've done in the past, covering this area about mental capacity and not giving up, check out episode 6 where we talk about mentality, episode 11 where we talk about visualization, and episode 23 where we talk about mindset. So for this week's call to action, tell us something you have done where you've surprised yourself, where you've made it so that quitting is not an option, and that you achieved a goal that you didn't think you could, or in that moment you surprised yourself. Tell us share with us something like that where you've broken through.
Yeah. Mentality is huge. I don't get it twisted where I don't believe that mentality is huge, but I don't get into the whole meditation crap. I just don't. I don't do these vision quests like Mo does. But no, you're right, dude. It drives me nuts to see someone give up on themselves, and then I'm like, shut the hell up, because you just did it, or you just about did it. So who the hell am I to judge on someone giving up on themselves?
Exactly.
It's either we know what we're doing is wrong, and we admit it, and then we next time reference to that, and then say, last time I bitched out, this time I'm not.
And that's a statement I was going to make. Guys and girls out there, we're not saying we're these elitists. We've never given up. We've never failed. I fail every day. And I'm the first one to admit when I fails, and I know Bro's the same way.
Oh God.
And but have I regretted decisions or things that I didn't execute on? Absolutely. I can look up at my military career, and there's plenty of things where I went left when I should have went right, and I knew I should have went right, and I had to suffer the consequences. I mean, I don't mean negative consequences, but opportunities missed, things that weren't put in front of me because I didn't choose to execute at a certain time and place, because I didn't take into consideration who could possibly be watching me. Mm-hmm. Those people that are always observing and that you could motivate or maybe even give someone doubt to want to trust you, to do something. I lived that life, and I try to do the best I can with every day and to become a better human. And if I'm going to fail, at least I try and fail forward and pick up something on the ground while I'm down there and learn something. So
nothing left to say on that. Mo just had a mic drop.
That brings this week's episode to a close. Don't forget, check out our sponsor, 75 Clothing. Make badass gear for your badass ventures. I'm Mo, and I'm out.
What was my name again today? Bro, what?
Shit.
Come on, man.
Bromodo Dragon.
Bromodo Dragon. That's how we're ending it.
Later, guys.
Thank you for listening to the One More Rep podcast. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at One More Rep Podcast, or on Twitter at Can I Get One More, or shoot us an email at canigetonemore@gmail.com.
Welcome to the One More Rep podcast, where we take it beyond the barbell. Shit. Hold on.
You better look at my name.
Yeah, I know. You knew.
I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't. Oh, my God. Can't even make you fucking to say it.
Welcome to the One More Rep podcast, where we take it beyond the barbell. I'm your host, Mo Dingo, and with me, as always, is Bromodo Dragon. So I almost forgot to put the bro name in for this week, so I actually had to stop and look one up. And as I was scanning through the list, it took me a minute to stop laughing before I could dish that one out.
Are you kidding me?
If anybody has like artistic skills, can you make a Bromodo Dragon? What is up, dude?
I don't fucking know.
I told you this list is sweet, man.